you didn't come and you have your stuff together, just get off the stage. Like we don't have time for it. How much of that eustress do you think played a part in you developing?
Honestly, a whole lot. Once I got a little bit older and kind of understood, I didn't want that to happen. So I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure it doesn't. I was going to play the drums. I wanted it to sound good. And if it doesn't sound good, I hear you. Catch you next weekend. See if we can do it again.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drum Show podcast. I have got a guest today that I'm really excited about. We crossed paths several times, played some shows together when I was out with the Steel Woods, and we always chatted right up and connected real well. And then we were just talking about how we didn't have each other's information. I was like, I think you actually wrote it on a piece of paper. I was like, that's gone. So Jon Hall from the Red Clay Strays is with us today, and I'm really excited to talk to you, man. So let's get started. So you've been with the Red Clay Strays. Are you a founding member of the band?
Yeah.
And you guys are out of Mobile, Alabama, right?
Yep.
All right, cool.
251 till I die.
No, you were like direct neighbors to me because I grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and was born in Port Gibson, Mississippi, and actually went to play with the Mobile Symphony Orchestra when I was in high school. I got hired for a gig with the, I guess they call them the Mobile Symphony, MSO maybe. Anyway, I hate to do the cliche, but when did you start drumming? Did you start as a kid? Did you start when the band started and you're like, they need a drummer, I'm going to do that?
Yeah, my dad always played in bands, and I just kind of came out beating on shit. For real.
Yeah, so your dad was a drummer?
No, he was a lead singer.
When the Red Clay Strays started up, where were you in kind of your timeline?
Just turned 21 because I carried my pistol with me everywhere because I thought that was cool.
If you're from Mississippi and Tennessee and Alabama, it's pretty much standard. I actually have a question that I want to lead with because it's one of the things that I like most about your playing. And it's kind of like, sometimes you see a player play and kind of instantly are like, that's my people over there. So the amount of passion that you play with is contagious, if you will. It kind of just lights my fire up. Is that something that is that just kind of the way you've always approached the drums?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, it's something I've always loved and very, very passionate about it for real. And, it took me a long time to be able to play with my dad because that was my dream. I wanted to be in his band. When I was 12, I started with him, and that was just, I've never been happier, like that was so incredible, and played with him for years. And it's like that.
What kind of music did he play?
Honky tonk, like southern rock.
So you started with him around the time you were 12.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay.
Getting paid professionally.
Getting paid professionally. My first professional getting paid gig was when I was 15. So not far off from you. So you started playing with your dad and just kind of cut your teeth coming up through that in bar bands, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing in church from the deep South, and that's kind of embedded in the culture there. So, but whenever I started getting paid to play, I very quickly transitioned into bars and the clubs, and I was on Bourbon Street full time by the time I was 19. And so, what were some of the early lessons you learned from playing with your dad, who's a more experienced player, obviously, but also playing in those types of environments, unpredictable environments, especially for a 12, 13-year-old?
Don't drink if somebody gives you a shot. If you're playing, don't stop if they're fighting.
So that's a power tip right there. Don't stop playing if a fight breaks out. That was something that they're not going to teach you in school. It's something your drum teacher's not going to tell you. When we were on Bourbon Street, they specifically, like the bouncers and stuff would specifically come tell the band, you do not draw attention to the fight. You do not stop playing. We'll take care of that. That's our job. You keep playing and keep the party going, because if you stop, then we've got a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, they need to be able to get it under control for anybody realizes what the fuck's going on.
Which is it's almost like I don't know. Every time it happens to me, I feel like we're in a movie scene where it's like, we're the music for the fight that's going on, but you're also you're also trying to check it out because you want to see, like, you seeing what's good, do you see the lick he got in there? Like you're trying to also be an appreciator of the fight that's happening, I guess.
Bass player Andrew, he's always looking out there. He's got super bad like ADD.
Uh-huh.
Like, check it out, they're doing it. I'm like, I don't want to look, man. I don't want to look. No. Ain't gonna get me today, bud.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
From the bar, scene to going and playing like venues, because at venues, I feel like the right thing to do is stop.
Yeah.
So because you can get security, get the people, get them out of there, and then the show can start back up.
Yeah. And the difference is almost, and at venues, it's like, I mean, you have some whole families that come out to see you. If it's an all ages venue, you may have, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, 3 ladies on the rail. And at the same time, you've got these 2 guys in the back that decided that they're going to go at it. And it's like, oh, hold up. We got to get this out of here.
So how long, that person saved up money to purchase tickets to take their family or whatever, just for it to be ruined by somebody who can't keep their shit together.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. Talking about how long they've saved up to come see you play. Is that something you think about when you're on stage? Let's say, you're having an off day, or let's say, you've been gone for a long time. Everybody can relate to that. And I don't think a lot of people that come to concerts think about that. They do save up, like my son's just at the concert going age. So he's like always scheming about what state we could go to. And he's like, Dad, it's only 5 states away. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's too far to go on the weekend, man. He's like, the tickets are only $500. I'm like, dude, what? And so is that something that you kind of always thought about? Is that something that maybe your dad talked about appreciating from the viewpoint of the listener, I guess, or the fan of music?
I mean, it's not really something that is ever really on my mind, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that they're there to see us and, got to do a good job. But I care about and think about playing well for everybody on stage, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if I'm happy with that and they're happy with it, I damn sure know that the crowd will be. Right,
that the audience is going to be happy with it. Because that's something that my first, when I started playing full time on Bourbon Street, my drum teacher's the one that got me the audition. And then I was playing the band opposite his, and I think he was more excited than I was that I got the gig. So we're walking back to the car afterwards, and he's just like talking, and I'm still like, wait, I gotta move. I'm 19, I've never moved. I'm like, wait, I gotta move, and he's like, man, and the thing to remember at the end of the day is you're getting paid to play music, and those people paid money to get in to see you. So it doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't, like, he took a whole chunk of time to tell me, like, it does not matter what you feel like. You got to get up there and give them the same show because they worked all week. And he said, sometimes you're the only relief they get from whatever they got going on in life is just to come out and see you for a couple of hours. And I had never clicked with me about, until then. Which made me kind of appreciate it. So you talked about listening on stage. Who are you listening to for the most on stage when you're up there?
Mainly Brandon vocals. I play off of vocal cues. Like I love vocal melodies and shit. And I'll put the guitars in my monitor a little bit, but
yeah. But mainly it's vocals. That's for me. If I lose everything else, if I can just hear the vocals where we are in the song, that kind of cues me where we're going. We were out. Let's see. When did I see you last? I think it was 2023. No, 2023 was when I saw you last, I think. And we kind of crossed ways at a festival again. We had played a couple of shows together, and then we crossed at a festival, and you guys were catching a red eye. And since then, it's been great to watch, to kind of watch you guys step your game up and escalate things. What's the last couple of years been like for you guys? Because I know, for everybody who doesn't know, we kind of ran, and there's a whole scene out of Texas, Oklahoma, and a lot of the Deep South called the Red Dirt scene. And everybody runs together, and we all kind of know each other, and know of each other. So what's it been like to watch the group go from, you started it at 21, and how many years ago was that?
About 10.
About 10 years ago. What's it been like to watch over the past couple of years as things have kind of really ramped up for you guys?
It's surreal, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's still dreaming about it. Like it's wild. Because we were just sitting like a practice room in in Andrew, the bass player's dad's garage, and just talk about, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do this? Or, dude, how about what if this shit happened, And then here it is. It's kind of doing it, and it's just it's fucking wild, is what it is.
Is that something you guys talked about a lot? Is that something kind of like, I guess, the vision for the group and where you wanted to go and what you wanted it to look like? Is that something that was talked about a good bit?
I mean, we've never had like a goal like this is what we want to do, this is where we want to be. We knew that we wanted to play, and that's, everything else is just cool.
Icing on the cake.
Like we wanted to work with Dave Cobb. That was something we wanted to do. Other than that, just really make a living, be able to provide for our families because we play music.
Yeah. I've gotten really into the past couple of years, just really kind of looking back, I guess, at life and thinking about what was I doing before kind of all the things happened that later would just become what life is. Kind of like you were saying, like you look up and you're like, well, whoa, this is, and so, a lot of it I've kind of traced back to really having some type of a vision beforehand of, even if it's not like, oh, it's definitely going to be like, kind of like what you're talking about. Like we were sitting in a room and we were sitting there all thinking about this could happen. We could play this venue. Wouldn't it be cool if we sold this out? Wouldn't it be cool if we had a bus? Wouldn't it be, and that was part of every, one of the successes or good things that's happened in my life is almost that phase of just talking and planning about it before it. And it may take 10 years, right, for that to come about. But that's something I think about a lot, is having some type of a vision, of where you're headed. So now that you guys are doing what you want to do, where do you want to go next? What's the goal? What do you guys got going this next year?
We're doing some Australia stuff. We're headlining Red Rocks 2 days. Really? That's super awesome. Cool. We're doing 3 days here in Gulf Shores at the Wharf, and that's crazy. That's
a big venue for everybody that doesn't in that area. Yeah.
And I think we're gonna get back in the studio, I do believe. And that's my favorite shit for real. Like, I love getting together with them and just hashing songs out and ending up with a product you're happy with. There's no other feeling like it, for real.
How's the songwriting process go for you all? Is it does the singer come in with a song already mapped out? Does the guitar player come in with a song mapped out? Or is it just kind of everybody jumps in?
Drew and Matthew is Brandon's little brother. Drew's the guitar player. They're the two songwriters, and we'll just sit in a circle and they'll start playing something. It's like, nah, I don't like that one. Playing something, nah, I don't like that one. So we get something that's like, oh, all right. And then we'll hash out parts, you know what I mean? And yeah, get mad at each other a little bit. I'm just kidding. That really doesn't happen to us, which is crazy. So they'll pretty much come in with bones, I guess, and how much of that structure is still intact. By the time you press the red button, it changes.
Right. What was your upbringing with your dad being a musician? I think about this because I've got kids that they're like dabbling in instruments, but if that's what you do, it's kind of like, how much do you push them? How much do you kind of start thinking about that? My wife's like, are you going to get them lessons? I'm like, I think I'm going to let them just do that right now. I think we're good, So it's what was your upbringing like with your dad being a musician? Did you get into formal training? Was it all just kind of like jump in there and start playing?
Yeah, I never had any formal training really. I just always wanted a drum set and always wanted to play, and they always let it happen, which I'm very thankful for, because I'm in the garage banging drums all day, every day. They're on the other side of the wall trying to watch damn HBO or something, But yeah, I just would play with music, found kids kind of my own age in middle school, and did some little rock and roll shit. And coming up, my dad would let me get up and play with him, but if I would drag or something like that, he would just stop the song and make me get down. I'm like, damn, dude.
Oh, get the cut.
Yeah, dude, he didn't play.
Oh man, that's brutal. But so I've talked about this with a lot of players. Look, when I was coming up, and it's called the cut, for any of you that don't know, and it was real, like it was the thing with jazz players back in the day. They didn't have any time to play with you. If you didn't come and you have your stuff together, just get off the stage. Like we don't have time for it. And there's a learning that comes with that. that you can't really learn in books. And it's like, kind of like you just said, it's like an instantaneous download of what just happened and what should have happened, and you'll fix it immediately. How much influence do you think that those experiences had shaping you as a musician, even though they were very rough cuts, if you will, of get off? How much did that, I don't want to say pressure. So there's distress, which is not good, and there's eustress, which is a good kind of stress. How much of that eustress do you think played a part in you developing?
Honestly, a whole lot, for real. Once I got a little bit older and kind of understood, it just really, I didn't want that to happen. So I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wicked thankful for it, honestly, no matter how much it upset me when I was a preteen or a teenager.
Yeah. Well, and it does upset you. And I think sometimes players shy away from it because it is a confrontational thing, and it is a like, this is incorrect. You're not doing it right. Get off, And I think sometimes they view that as well, it is. It's a pretty brutal way to get the information. Was that a demotivating thing the next day, or was it a very motivating thing for you?
Very, very motivating. I was going to play the drums, and I wanted to do it well enough. I wanted it to sound good. And if it doesn't sound good, I hear you. I'll catch you next weekend, see if we can do it again.
Yeah. Which is the attitude you've got to have. And the students I've got that have that attitude where they get up, and I'm always encouraged. I'm like, whatever you do, just go play with other musicians, play with other musicians, play with other musicians. You need to be, well, you were playing with other musicians from like the time you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always got up and jammed with my dad's band whenever they would take a break from rehearsals or whatever. My little ass was right on the drum set.
Now, is your dad still around?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So what's that been like? I guess the relationship as it progresses. Now you've kind of come into your own as a musician. Has that been a pretty cool, I guess, development of the relationship?
Oh yeah, he fucking loves it. It bothers the hell out of me. Like, we'll be in Walmart or something, and I can see him trying to go and like tell somebody in the right place trays, and I was like, "Dad, I stop, dude. No sir, I'm going to sit in the car."
You got to keep a something soft, like maybe a spray bottle or something that you can just like when he starts, just like spritz him, be like.
A finger in his mouth when he's trying to talk. He hates that shit.
That's amazing. That's a really cool experience, though.
It really was a very cool way to get to know and become friends with my dad. Best friends even, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And we still jam together now. I have a studio over at their house, and me and him will write songs and record shit, hash it out.
Well, and that's, that relationship, because it's interesting, right? So you're talking about a person that you had of what some people would consider a very traumatic experience, although I don't think it's traumatic. I think it's learning, right? Where you're asked to get off stage. Like, that wasn't good enough. I need you to get down right now. Which now that you're on the other side of that, you're like, yeah, I mean, the music has to work. We're going to lose the crowd. You need to get, But for some kids, that would be just, devastating. But in that relationship, I feel it almost builds a level of trust that some people are missing. There can be a depth to that relationship that some people don't want to enter in because they're too afraid to tell somebody, hey, that's incorrect. That's wrong. Like, you're not playing that right. Please play it correctly, The
only way to get better really is, have someone tell you that that's not correct or it wasn't good enough, it is a level of humility where you have to admit also like, fuck, you're right, dude. You're right. I know what I did.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's humility. And I think too, it's detaching some of our emotions from like our self-worth from our playing. I think when we're younger, or maybe I won't say I'll just speak for myself. When I was younger, I didn't attach my self-worth to how well I played that day. It was separated. I just thought it was really cool that I got to be a part of the party. I thought it was really cool that they had me up there. And so anything that stopped that from happening, that really pissed me off. I was like, wait, I'll just fix it so that I can jump back in and we can keep partying, right? So for me, it was never, I didn't really get my feelings hurt. you know? And I think that's what happens with people is it's too much emotion caught up. It's like, dude, it's just wrong. Just fix it and then come back.
It's hard to get to where you can do that. You know, when the Strays first started kind of writing our own original music, we have a house that we rent, you know, and we'd be in there and we'd be hashing the song out, and Brandon would be like, you know, to me, hey, John, I don't like what you're doing here. Can you try this? And I was like, dude, kiss my ass. You know what I mean? What do you talk? You just sing, bro. Like, leave me alone. Go outside, smoke a cigarette, come back and be like, all right, you're right. I'm sorry. Let's do this. And then 9 times out of 10, he would be right. You know, something as simple as 16th notes on a hi-hat, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the treatment of a hi-hat can completely change a song. You play a ballad with brushes, and I was talking to somebody the other day, I said, oh, it's everything, whether I decide to put the hi-hat on the upbeats or the downbeats. It completely, you know, if I'm doing it with my foot, it changes everything about, you know, that pocket, how it feels. 16th notes on the hi-hat, especially for those of you who don't know, you know, if you've got a singer, many times it will conflict with the line that they're trying to sing. It's like it's too much rhythm going on at the same time. Yeah, and so that's cool that you had a lot of those early experiences that kind of helped shape you. And what's cool is, you know, I guess being a dad now, you can look at it from both sides. I can. Your dad didn't actually, and for those of you that this happens to, those people usually don't have any ill will towards you.
No, not at all. For real. I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think that they usually have nothing but good things. They just I think they can see what could be and what's not, and they'd like you to bridge the gap between the two, you know, which is probably why you know, have maintained a great relationship with your father. Because to me, that communication is so strong there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He just wanted me to be good enough to play with him.
Yeah. Which, as a dad, I mean, it's great when your kids are good enough and you're like, awesome, you can play with me now, you know? That's very cool, man. Now, okay, so you just got married, so this is a new phase. I don't want to, you know, bring that back up, but it's a new phase. That's a big deal, big life change, especially with you touring full time and all the stress that puts on it. So, how long have you guys been married now?
We got married September 25th of 24.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, and she's been with you for a while now, kind of through the growth of the band.
Yeah, through all of it. And we never lived together either. We got married, got home. I think I went out on the road for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then bought a house the end of November. Yeah.
That is a lot of big shit. So my wife and I didn't live together. We had separate apartments until we got married as well. There's a lot of adjusting that goes on there.
I'm trying not to make her hate me so bad, dude, because I love her so much.
Bro, look, I was loading the dishwasher one day the first year we were married. And I mean, of course it was wrong, you know, because her family, you never realize like their family loaded the dishwasher completely different, which is insane. You guys loaded it in an insane way. Why would you load it that way? And I don't know how they did it, right? And so I'm sitting there like, which probably to her credit, I probably didn't actually know what I was doing. But, you know, and finally I stopped and I was like, okay, so I was taught how to do things one way and it's just going to take you a little longer to retrain me. And I think she actually liked the word retrain.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna have to try to use that one, dude.
Yeah, I was like, just give me a little patience. I'm on a pretty steep learning curve here, so I am trying though. Now, so how'd you guys meet?
The Strays, we were playing a gig at a college, I guess, dive bar here in downtown Mobile called O'Daly's.
I know where O'Daly's is.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing.
And her and her friend group would come and see us all over the place. Like I knew her. I would come up and say hello to them. Good, you know, thank y'all for coming and all that. And then one night, her friend came over there. After the gig, I was tearing my drums down. She said, "Hey, my friend Christina, you know, she thinks you're cute." I was like, "Oh shit, hell yeah!" You know what I mean? Like, didn't get it, Bull. And, none of that actually happened. That night, it didn't. You know, we hung out and kissed a little bit, and yeah, it drove me insane.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we just started slowly dating and stuff like that, and then I'm crazy about her.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were talking earlier. My wife and I, we met at my first paid gig when I was 15. Well, we didn't meet. That was the first time she saw me. And not near as cool as a dive bar. I was actually wearing a pair of reindeer antlers playing a stage show, playing Jingle Bell. I actually don't want to tell this story anymore. Playing Jingle Bells. And I had to stand.
Tough, bro. That shit's tough.
It is, especially wearing a Rudolph red nose that they made you wear in rehearsal. They were like, "Hey, it'd be cool if you had reindeer antlers and a red nose." And I would listen to nothing but punk rock, and I was like, "Nope, that wouldn't. I don't want to do that." So, but I now I think back, and I'm like, would she have ever even seen me if I hadn't stood up with this stupid red nose on? But yeah, like I could have missed everything, So I found my call, I found my career, and I found my wife in the same night. But the good news is, if we started there, like I guess I got nowhere to go but up, if that's the that's. So how is she? I was just talking to Brad, our old tour manager, who's with Cody Jinks now, and I was just having lunch with him today actually, and we were talking about the experience for wives. I guess we should say spouses. There's a lot of touring female musicians out there too. How has that impacted your relationship? I know that's the only way she's ever known the relationship to be. What are some of the tougher things that come with that? Because I don't think a lot of people understand the strain that being gone that much puts on a relationship.
I think I take it way worse than she does.
Really?
Yeah, her dad traveled a lot. He's a chemical engineer. He worked a lot in China, so he would be gone a shit ton. When there's stuff that needs to be done, it really fucking sucks for her, because I'm not here. But yeah, it's not too bad, really. If I can, the worst thing about it is I'm terrible with phones. I really am. I'm not attached to the damn thing. I hate it. And so I won't text her, I'll tell her good morning. We'll talk for a minute. And then once my day starts, I'm not, replying to a message until 10 or 11 at night. And she's asleep, Yeah,
man. We had that same issue when I was out with the Steelers for a year and a half. And with texting, it was like so easy just to let that be the only thing that happened, and we didn't actually talk. And after I'd been out for a few months, I told her, I was like, look, how about instead of just like constant texting, how about we just like set up a phone call, and then we actually get to, we actually get on the phone and we talk, and whether that be like FaceTime or whatever it looks like, it can't always be, you don't always have that good of internet. But when we started doing that, things, I don't know, to me, they started smoothing out a little bit better. Like when I would go home, it didn't feel like I'd been gone for a week and a half. It felt more like I'd been gone, but we'd been talking and FaceTime and seeing each other. Whereas with texting, it always, there's no voice inflection on texting. The amount of fights we've gotten into over, no. Yeah, because we had stopped years ago. Anything important in life, we didn't text about, unless it was like, I'm picking the kid up here, got to do laundry, like something like that. But if it was the actual like important thing, we actually wouldn't text about it, because it always wound up in a fight, because there was no voice inflection. I'd be like, I did not mean that. It's not what I meant, So yeah, that is a struggle though. I was the same way. So I had to make a rule for myself that I had to call, which is,
Need to do that. I hate talking on the phone. It gives me anxiety. I'm surprised I'm not fucking pacing this room right now doing this. But
the funny thing is this studio is not far from my house. We set up a call every day. I still call her every day after lunch, because
man, y'all so cute, dude. Get out of here.
Well, so one of the things was she would always text me, and I'm like, I'm trying to like work and maybe I'm cutting a track. Yesterday I was cutting a track, and it's like, I don't have my phone on, right? I don't have it on me. So it's like, I guess having that established connection point, has always helped. So that's very cool, man. So a lot of good, like it's been do you allow yourself the time to sit back and think about all the cool stuff that's happening to you? Just in case you haven't, John, a lot of cool stuff's been happening in the last couple of years. So do you ever allow yourself to sit back and be like, you know what? I got married. I bought a house. I'm making a living as a musician. We're playing sold out shows. We're playing Red Rocks, 2 nights in a row? You're playing the War.
Friday and a Saturday too, which apparently is crazy. I don't.
This podcast is brought to you by the Drum Better Daily program. That's actually my online drum school that I've run now for 12 plus years. Not only have I been playing the drums professionally since the age of 15, I've been teaching since the age of 18. Matter of fact, I talked to one of my, or actually my first student a few days ago. I actually called him to see if he could sub a gig out for me. Daniel, love you, man. And he's still playing. He's still doing it on a pro level. And I have been committed to teaching for 22 plus years now. I would love to have you go check it out at stevensdrumshed.com. You can find a link to that in the show notes or video description, whichever platform you're watching it on. But it truly is a community of like-minded drummers where we are striving to just be the best that we can be at the drums. In addition to over 70 pre-recorded drum courses, there's also a tech talk area where we talk about everything technology related as it pertains to the drums, e-kits, recording, doing videos, all of that stuff. There are forums where you can hang out with the other students as well. We do 2 live video student calls every week that you can join if you'd like to. We do guest artist calls monthly, and I'll even make you a personalized lesson plan if that's what you need. Yes, we talk about the nuts and bolts of drumming. Yes, I give you exercises, but we also talk a lot about how to practice more efficiently, how to practice better, and how to get more out of your practice time. I know you're just like me. You're busy, you're being pulled by work, by family, by friends, by other responsibilities. Whenever you practice, you really want to see gains and have it be productive. That is what we focus on in the Drum Better Daily program. I'll have to say personally, it's been really cool because some of these students I've worked with for over 12 years, we started running drum camps here in 2022, and I got to meet some of them in person for the first time. Those drum camps have been selling out, blowing my mind with how much fun they are and how great a time it is to bring the community together in person. I'd love to have you be a part of it. It is. I bring this up for a reason because me and the sound guy, Steven, that we were out with, we had a discussion, and he said, everybody walks around this arena, and he said, I haven't mixed in an arena before. He said, this is pretty cool for me. He said, but everybody walks around. He's like, it's like the cool thing not to say that this is cool. Like, oh yeah, it's just another day at work, And I looked up at him and I was like, don't ever take it for granted. And I was like, if this is your first arena to mix, in a second, you need to go stand in the middle of it. And I said, you need to go walk up to the top seat and see what everything looks like. And I said, you need to go to every part of this arena and listen to people sound check. And I said, and anytime you think it's really cool, come talk to me and I will so he passed me later. He was pushing some cases, some deads, and he passed me. He's like, it's pretty cool. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So do you give yourself time to, I don't know, step back and look at and think about?
Absolutely. I think we all do. It may be 2 or 3 gigs, but all of us will get together and we'll talk about shit. Like, hey, wasn't that fucking cool? Or like, this is what happened, and yeah, it's crazy, really, and it is not missed on me at all whatsoever. I was gonna be a welder, you know what I mean? Like a union boilermaker is what I wanted to do for a living, and like the fact that I didn't end up doing that and ended up playing drums for a living is, it's nothing short of a blessing. And all these places that we get to go, I've traveled the world. I went to Dublin, Ireland. I barely graduated high school, Stephen. You know what I mean? Like, it's so incredible. And I couldn't be more thankful for every fucking day that I get to do it.
What's one of the biggest lessons you've learned from traveling and being exposed to so many different people, different cultures, different cities? What's one of the takeaways that you have from that?
Make sure that you don't make it someone else's job to make sure that to make sure that you are keeping your shit together.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy, especially for me. I really do, or used to have a problem with it, getting so caught up in how cool it is where we are or what we're doing. So I'll just, get hammered, pound alcohol because, I come from a family of drinkers, really. And, if something cool happens, hell yeah, let's have a beer, and you don't want to be that person,
No, you don't have a very long shelf life. if you're that person all the time.
No, you don't. Especially if you're a drummer, dude. You know, you didn't
Yeah.
write the songs, bro. Calm down. No.
Yeah, the number of people that has taken out, not just alcohol, shall we say, recreational activities in general, that has taken out that I've known is just insane, you know. And it's not that you can't ever enjoy a beer. It's just have some self-awareness, you know what your job is.
It is a job. It is a job on stage and off stage, for real.
Yeah. All right. Coolest gig to date. And it can be, it doesn't have to be biggest gig. It doesn't have to, I mean, some of my coolest gigs actually were the smallest gigs I've played. Kind of in your mind, what's one of the more memorable gigs that you just kind of have a real vivid memory of what's going on?
Dude, the first time that we sold out the Soul Kitchen here in Mobile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I grew up watching shows there. You know what I mean? The drive-by trucker just blowing my fucking face off. And to sell that room out was pretty incredible, for real. Red Rocks was amazing also. Every show in Europe was fucking crazy.
Really? How the crowds over there for the Southern Rock, I guess?
They were awesome. For Scotland, where we played in Glasgow. That was weird. After the songs, you could hear a pin drop. Didn't say a damn thing. We were just all looking at each other like, I guess we're doing okay.
Yeah, because like some friends of mine that have played in Japan, it was kind of part of the culture not to. It was a more quiet experience, which was kind of offsetting as the band, because you're like, you guys can do anything to give us some feedback.
We feed off claps, dude.
Do you find, maybe it was just me, and you try to tell people about this, every room has a certain energy, and it's always been interesting to me that a venue, the people in that venue, you know, for instance, playing a venue 2 nights in a row, the venue will be it'll have a completely different energy each night. And it can be dependent on who the crowd is. I mean, you can walk on stage and be like, ugh, what is gross, you know? Like, this doesn't feel good. Do you feel that too?
Yeah. Not to get all too hippy dippy, but the vibe is totally noticeable, completely, you know?
Yeah.
And I hate those 2 or 3. 2's okay, but 3, you know, 3 shows in a row at the same place. It's like, damn, here we are again. You know, I need something to do. Then I'll just start fucking with our monitor guy. Like, my mix is wrong, dude. What'd you do last night?
Make him earn some money.
Just give me something to do, you know?
Yeah, I messed with Johnny one night. We were on stage in Colorado, and we were doing an encore, and I was, you know, one of those things. We've been out, it was like day 15 or something, and I got a little bored, and I looked up, I was like, I'm going to mess with Johnny. And so I played a drum fill where it's not supposed to be, and it was like sextuplets. It's something that was like, I knew would goose him just enough. And as soon as I did it, he turned around and gave me the double bird. Fuck you, Taylor. And I was like, whoa, you know, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, whoa, you know, and we got off, and I was laughing going up the stage. He's like, what was that, Taylor? I was like, dude, I was just messing with you. You got me good.
I love that so much, dude. The camaraderie that you get with the people you work with on the road it's amazing.
Yeah. So what kit are you riding, man? What are you playing? What cymbals are you playing? Tell me a little bit about your gear.
I'm playing the Ludwig Legacy Maples, 3-ply.
What finish you got on them?
What is it? Is it Black Oyster Pearl?
Oh yeah, classic.
When I think of classic Ludwigs, that's what I think of. You know what I mean? So I had to get that. And, yeah, they're 3-ply. What is it? Maple, then American Poplar, then another maple. It's got the reinforcement rings on the top and bottom. Doing a 22 by 14 kick, 14-inch rack time, and 16-inch floor time. Dude, a 14-inch rack. I love it so much.
Yeah, they're a whole animal. I had 14, 16, 18 out with me. And funny enough, mine was a Rogers kit that had been rewrapped. It was a 1976 kit in black oyster pearl. So everybody
saw that kit the first time that we met. I was like, fuck, those are Rogers, dude. So fine.
Everybody would come up. They were like, what are you playing, Ludwig's? I'm like, no, they're Rogers. I couldn't tell from the finish. I'm like, yeah, I know. They rewrapped it, which is a complete like triple level drummer, you know. I know they rewrapped. I know they were popular in the 1970s. You know, it's like total nerd out, you know. So common misconception in this part of the United States, you know, it's like, whatever, man.
The original top mount either. You can tell here by the smaller drill hole.
Wait, I see that you put another throw off on here. Is this the original M? You know, I don't know. When I do this, the snares go off, and when I do this, they go on. So I'm pretty happy about that.
5 from the 70s. I think it might be 60s because it's got the circular tube on it, not the square. Like, hold on, bro. Let me Google this shit. Slow down.
I love going into Forks and Nelson's because they know so much about that. And they'll just like look at a drum like, oh yeah, it's got the classic lugs, you know, classic rocket style lugs. I'm like, what? No, that's not a classic. I've never even heard of that. It's not a car. Yeah. Oh no, I mean, these are pretty well known. I'm like, I'm pretty sure nobody knows about those. Okay.
I started getting really fucking nerdy about drums maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I know a little bit of stuff. You know, I can sometimes carry a conversation and not sound like an idiot, but
yeah, I started flipping some drums just for fun, you know.
I'm a hoarder, man. I can't do it. I can't fucking do it.
So for me, it was, you had to think about it in terms of a herd. Johnny taught me this. And you got to upgrade your herd. So if you got some over here that have been sitting there for a while and you don't play them, you're like, all right, that's kind of like, that's weakening the herd here. I want people to look at it.
Still breed, Steven.
That's what, you know, of course, being on the road, you go to different cities. So we would always be moving our pins on Facebook Marketplace and pinning wherever we were going to see what was being sold there so we could set up buys before we even got there.
Yep. That's a slippery slope, my friend.
Yeah, it's not good. You don't make a lot of money because you wind up buying gear.
No, but it's so much fun.
Oh, dude, I went to, we played in Indianapolis, and I saw this kid carrying a round badge floor tom across this parking lot. And I was like, we got to follow that kid, man, and find out where he's taking that. And my photographer was like, he's probably going to play a gig. And I looked at him. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm sure that 12-year-old's going to play a gig with that 1950s round badge, Gretsch. I'm sure that he's going to, you know, and he's like, what? And I'm like, never mind, whatever, just come on. So sure enough, he was going to a music shop. It was his grandfather's drum set. It was a 1956 Gretsch round badge in great condition. And so I wound up buying it for like $1,200, which is complete steal. I gave them what they were asking. Yeah, and then I had to go tell Brad, our tour manager. I was like, "Hey, Brad, I did a thing. I'm sorry, but
I need you to make room for this fucking thing."
And it was a 28-inch bass drum. It wasn't anything small,
dude. Yeah. What the hell does that sound like?
Oh, it's a cannon. It's a cannon, and it's the bearing edges are in great condition. So there's these pictures of, you know, the band, Steelwoods, everybody. We actually brought like this little rolling cart, and we put the bass drum in it, and we're walking through this arts festival with this old vintage drum set, getting it back to the bus. So yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is. It is.
What cymbals you got going on, man?
I'm using Sabians, double HX. My ride is a double HX. It's a 23 inch complex medium ride. I love it, dude. It's got a little bell, and it'll wash if you want it to, you know, and not get overbearing, or you can just ping it, you know.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the concept of washing versus a pinging ride. Big conversation that I've been having with Grant, who works for, he's in the next room, he's drummer too. We really just talk about drums all day here. And we'll have this ongoing conversation that it's like, man, I don't know if I want that washy ride. And he's like, dude, stop thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. 3 months later, you know. So once once the ride starts washing, it's a big deal if it won't back off, because crash rides are a big part of modern rock music. But in the 90s, listen to all the 90s rock recordings. It was ping rides. Listen to Nirvana stuff. It was a ping ride.
Dave Grohl just beating the shit out of that thick son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If he crashed, and what Crash rode, he rode on a crash. It was a crash cymbal he was crashing on. So I have a big, the Zildjian K Suites, 23 inch is what it's the same thing. I can lay into it. It'll wash out some, but then it'll back off whenever whereas you got something like a Bounce or a Constantinople Renaissance, those don't back off. Once you get the girl going, she just won't calm down, right?
You wipe everything out in the Golden Corral.
Exactly. So I've actually gotten to where now I would prefer to have a ride on my right-hand side that can also be used as a large second crash, and also have a ping ride. So if I want a crash ride, I got this option, which is usually my Bounce or Renaissance. And then I have something that's got more definition. And that's kind of been a recent development, because I realized not all of them can do both of them.
Honestly, sounds like a lot of fun trying to figure out which two work best together. Dude, I'll send a music store. I'll do it with my own cymbals, just in the studio or whatever. Just hitting them in different places with a different part of the stick, because they sound completely fucking different.
Oh yeah, I've had gigs where I've actually taken a cymbal off of the stand because I hit it once and I was like, oh no. It was like an offensive thing, Or I brought a gong drum out with the steel woods, and I kept telling them, I was like, no, we need a gong drum for this one part. Just trust me on this. They're like, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I'm like, dude, let me get one, So I went and bought 22-inch pancake drum, gong drum.
You had that on the Rogers kit, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I only used it like 3 or 4 times in the show.
That was such a badass setup. It don't matter. It's fucking cool.
It is, dude. You got a big mallet, and And I told the sound guy, because he walked up, and I said, okay, put the mic like an inch or two from it inside that shell. I said, and let me go out and hit it, go out, let me hit it. And as soon as I hit it, he's like, I get it now. It's this big boom. It's like this big 808, that dies off super quick.
Those is it Irish hand drums?
Oh yeah.
That if you mic one of them, boo, 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 fucking badass.
Oh yeah. Now, do you have anything? Are you riding a basic setup, or do you have some things that you put? Do you have an auxiliary snare?
I think I travel with 3 snares. I have like a main, a backup, and then one that goes with me everywhere. It's the very first drum I ever got when I was about 3 or 4. My dad got it for me. It's a olive badge 70s Ludwig Superlight, I do believe.
Yep.
It's disgusting. Like I let it get rained on, like all kind of shit, just not knowing what it was. It's patinaed. It's disgusting. I got a 30 strand on it, dude, and it's just I don't ever play it, but
really,
it liked to be with me, and I like it to be with me also. And then,
yeah,
I got a brass, the Ludwig heirloom. I got that.
How deep are you?
Copperphonic.
Oh yeah, that's what I've got one sitting right here. We were just talking about that before we started streaming. How deep's the Copperphonic? 6, 8,
6.5. Yeah,
6.5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have had a hard time making this drum sound bad. The Copperphonic.
I love a good drum that won't do you no wrong, dude.
Oh man, yeah. And some of them, they only have a certain range that they'll sing in. But the Copperphonic, I've taken it way detuned, and it sounds good. And we've got it kind of cranked up right now. She sounds good. Yeah.
You got tape on it? What are you doing? You just let it sing.
Okay, this is an interesting thing. So I have one, I want to say it's a drum dot, but it's not. It's like the knockoff on Amazon. Whatever those gels are that they have, you can buy for like $2. I still sometimes revert to my really cheap drummer days where I'm like, oh no, I probably don't have money. I need to get that. And then it doesn't work, and I should just paid $3 more. But yeah, this one, I think it's kind of melted onto the head at this point because it's not really.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah. It's Oh yeah, it's a permanent part of the drum now. But when I was out in the woods, we wrote everything completely wide open. That was how they liked me to do it.
That goes with their shit. I think,
Yeah, I thought it fit the sound too.
Yeah, when we had talked, you said that you really listened to their stuff and kind of curated the drums around their music, like
Yeah,
handpicked everything. And I always just loved that so much that you told me that, because I never heard no shit like that.
well, and so it's different being in a band. Like you started the band, you were founding member. So it's different coming in as a hired gun, where let's say you're like, dude, I got sick, I can't go to Europe. So you call somebody, and it's like, okay, I got to step into these shoes. How can I step on the least amount of toes and fit in with the music? What are the sounds they're going for? Oh, that was one of the funnest parts of prepping for the gig, was actually spending weeks playing on certain cymbals with the music and being like, nope, you lose, you're out,
It's making me excited just thinking about it, honestly.
Oh yeah, Johnny actually, the bass player, he said, hey, if you want to use some cymbals, we have some cymbals that we take out with us, just because we've had a lot of sub drummers, so they it's kind of the sound that we want. And I was like, I'm gonna stop you right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, yeah, I got this taken care of. I have them in the case already. If you don't like them, I'll take them down. So they were all, I think that's an important thing, is not just because part of your sound, let's just say appreciating what you do for the band. I know you probably don't step back and do that, but someone as a listener appreciating what you do for the band, part of your sound is your choice of drums. It's your choice of cymbals. It's your choice of how you attack them. It's what you were saying. Do I play with the tip of the stick? Do I play it on this side of the room? All of those things went into making the music. What kind of heads you used, all that stuff. And so for me, part of appreciating the music is digging in and going, I wonder why they did that bass drum sound. That's really not what I would have done. And then stepping back and going, I wonder what it does for the vibe of the song. One of the really cool things you can do is take it, like when y'all are in the editing process and, post-recording, and you're just kind of getting a mix, is start to remove that sound from the song and see what it does. Like, let's keep the kick drum, but take the reverb out of it and see what it does emotionally for the feeling of the song. And sometimes you're like, yeah, no, we got to add that back in there. I don't know what it does, but it does something for the song.
It can go from a damn R&B tune to a fucking, pop song like that.
Oh yeah. So do you put a lot of time into your thought into how you curate the sound for the band? I don't want that to seem like that's a redundant, like that's a low lying question. But I have met players that don't. They just the drum was there, I played it.
Cymbals are very, very important to me. I can go somewhere with a backline kit, as long as I got a little gaff tape and a drum key, I'll probably fucking be okay. You know what I mean? But if I've got a bad set of cymbals that are nothing like me at all whatsoever, I'm not going to have a good gig at all whatsoever. I'm going to be upset about it. And so to that extent, yes. But I'm also constantly kind of unhappy with it anyway. What can I do? I'm always thinking, what can I do to make it a little better, sound wise? Because there's so much shit out there.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like, if I can fly with my cymbals and I can fly with my snare, I'm a pretty happy guy. If you got to take my snare away, fine. Just give me the cymbals. Don't take those from me, and we'll have an okay gig. It'll feel all right. Very nice. So what do you guys got coming up this year, man? Besides Red Rocks and
Australia, I really don't know.
You just get on the bus and they'll tell you where to go.
I really do, man. I really do.
It's a beautiful thing. Well,
my memory is just I can never remember anything. My wife knows my schedule better than I do.
Oh yeah, I had that problem, and so every city we went to, I started writing 2 or 3 sentences on just like a Google Doc about like the venue, where we were, and then I'd write 2 or 3 sentences that were random. Really good ramen around the corner, coffee shop 2 miles away, like, you know. And just reading that made me remember the entire day. I could go back and just read like 2 sentences and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that joint, you know?
I usually keep set lists. I have so many set lists from when I started playing with my dad to sub gigs that I've done with friends of mine to super early strays to, you know, the new shit that the strays are doing. Like it's crazy. That's cool. But traveling around with a notebook sounds like a good idea because I like to write anyway.
Oh yeah, something easy, portable, you know. Last question for you. Where does the I asked this because in Mississippi red clay is like a big deal. So it is in Alabama. It's like basically our dirt. So where'd the name come from?
Dude, it really is not a cool story. So there was a band before the Red Clay Strays called the Coleman Mason Band, and it was everybody but me and the 2 guitar players. But one of the guitar players was like managing and booking the band. Their drummer was like 70. That dude quit. I auditioned, got the job, played with that band for like a month. The 2 guitar players that they had were just assholes, like not nice people. Fired them. I hired Zach. And so now we have all these gigs with a new band, and we have to find, you know, we played Nameless for like a month and a half. And that month and a half, we were just coming up with anything we could, just send them to like, nah, I don't like that. No, I don't like that one. And Andrew, the bass player's brother, sent us Red Clay Strays, and we were like, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, there's a spot outside of Hattiesburg that's called in Mississippi called Red Bluff. And it used to be, I guess it was privately owned. You used to could go to it, but then I think they shut it down because a bunch of teenagers were going out there drinking. But it was, as I guess teenagers do, it was literally, you know, I mean, it was this huge drop off. It was bluffs. I mean, it was just red clay for as long as you could see. You know,
to a creek or just like a
no, it was like I mean, it's weird. You go out there. I don't want to say Grand Canyon because that's massive. But I mean, like the shape of that, just like wait, yeah, the not so grand red clay version of the Grand Canyon. But I mean, you're talking like, you know, several stories up, and it's just red clay, and it goes forever around there. You just walk around, slide down it. You know, it's a pretty hip spot. I don't know if you can still go out there, but it was called Red Bluff when I was growing up. So anyway, it piqued my ears to figure out. You know, yeah, man.
I mean, it's cool. I think we love the name too. Like, it really did become us, and we became it. You know what I mean? Because none of us have ever in the band have ever. Like, I don't want to say fit in because that sounds kind of childish, but really felt included in anything with our peers growing up. You know, like we really all always were and still are to an extent, you know, like strays, you know. So that was, I love it.
That's awesome, man. Well, I want to respect your time. I appreciate you, you know, taking the time to stop off and chat, man. So
I can't tell you how much it really means to me that you even reached out. I was like, hell no, I ain't doing that. That's scary. Dude, I watch your shit. You talk to some smart people. Really interesting stuff, for real. I love what you do.
I appreciate
and you
that,
rock.
man.
Thank you so much, dude. Like,
I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate what you do, and thanks for the inspiration when I was out, you know, with you guys, and we got to play together. I always just liked watching you play because it was just, you know, again, it was inspiring to watch another person that connected with the music as much, you know, and wasn't a.
Wholeheartedly, I appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, we'll talk soon. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, bud.